You're watching RIP News, where we remember the lives that touched the world. In the last 24 hours, we've lost voices, hearts, and souls who made a difference. This video is our small tribute to their impact, their journeys, and the memories they've left behind. If any part of their story moves you, please consider liking this video, not just for us, but in honor of them. We appreciate you joining us. She didn't wait for the spotlight, she built her own. In a world where women were often told to smile and stay quiet, she spoke with fire and ruled with silence. They called her the Queen of the Noir, but her story wasn't written in glamour, it was carved out of grit, tragedy, and relentless determination. Behind that fierce stare and sharp delivery was a woman who overcame unthinkable odds to become one of the greatest actresses of all time. This is the unforgettable journey of Barbara Stanwyck, a star who rose not by luck, but by will. She was born Ruby Catherine Stevens on July 16, 1907, in Brooklyn, New York. But childhood was no fairy tale. When Barbara was just 4 years old, her mother was pushed off a streetcar by a drunk man, and died. 2 weeks later, her father abandoned the family and vanished forever. Orphaned and broken, young Ruby was raised in foster homes and by an older sister. She dropped out of school in 8th grade, working as a package wrapper and file clerk to survive. Life was hard, cold, and unforgiving, but it forged a survivor. Even as a teenager, she had one goal: freedom. Not just from poverty, but from being invisible. That's when she discovered the world of performance. First as a chorus girl, then as a dancer at the legendary Ziegfeld Follies. But she wasn't like the others, she had edge. A confidence that couldn't be taught. And soon, Broadway came calling. She changed her name to Barbara Stanwyck, borrowed from a stage actress's playbill, and headed west. Hollywood, at first, didn't know what to do with her. She wasn't a traditional beauty, but she had something more rare: authenticity. Her breakout role came in 1930's Ladies of Leisure, directed by Frank Capra. The moment she appeared on screen, audiences saw it too. She wasn't playing a character. She was living it. Stanwyck became a symbol of the working-class woman, strong, smart, complicated, and fiercely independent. Her roles weren't always likable, but they were always real. In films like Stella Dallas, Ball of Fire, Meet John Doe, and Christmas in Connecticut, she portrayed women torn between duty and desire, strength and vulnerability. And then came Double Indemnity, 1944. Her role as Phyllis Dietrich's son, the manipulative femme fatale in Billy Wilder's noir masterpiece, redefined what a woman could be in film. Cold, seductive, and dangerously clever, Stanwyck didn't just steal the screen, she hijacked the genre. That performance earned her another Academy Award nomination, and eternal status as a noir legend. In total, she was nominated for 4 Oscars, but never won competitively. Yet her career outlasted most of her peers. She transitioned seamlessly into television in the 1960s and 70s, winning 3 Emmy Awards for The Big Valley, The Barbara Stanwyck Show, and The Thorn Birds. While others faded, she evolved. Behind the camera, her life remained complex. She was married briefly to actor Robert Taylor, a relationship rumored to be arranged for studio purposes. She never remarried and had no children. Many described her as warm in private but guarded, someone shaped by early loss who trusted few. But Barbara Stanwyck never wanted sympathy. She wanted respect. And she earned it. Directors loved her for being professional, punctual, and passionate. Co-stars admired her toughness. She once said, "Egotism, usually just a case of mistaken nonentity." That was Barbara, humble, sharp, and no-nonsense. In 1982, she finally received an honorary Academy Award, not just for a body of work, but for her legacy. Over 80 films. Dozens of television roles. A career that spanned 6 decades without ever compromising who she was. She passed away on January 20, 1990, at the age of 82. But Barbara Stanwyck was never just an actress. She was a blueprint for every woman who refused to be silent. For every survivor who turned pain into power. For every performer who demanded to be taken seriously. She walked into Hollywood as an orphan, and left it a legend. And yet, her story is just one chapter in the golden saga of classic Hollywood. Stay with us? Because next, we open the curtain on another icon, one whose brilliance lit up the screen, but whose behind-the-scenes battle was just as gripping and unforgettable. He wasn't tall. He didn't have matinee idol looks. But when he walked into a scene, the room froze. The danger was real. The power, undeniable. You didn't need to be big to be feared. You just had to be Edward G. Robinson. For decades, he was the face of gangsters, the voice of menace, the squint behind a smoking cigar. But behind the iconic snarl was a man of culture, passion, intellect, and resilience. This is the story of how Edward G. Robinson, the son of poor immigrants, clawed his way to the top of Hollywood, and became one of its most respected legends. Born Emanuel Goldenberg on December 12, 1893, in Bucharest, Romania, Robinson's early life was anything but glamorous. His family was Jewish and fled to New York City when he was just 10 years old to escape rising anti-Semitism. The Lower East Side, where they settled, was loud, overcrowded, and brutal, but young Emanuel was a survivor. As a boy, he learned English by watching people, imitating them, an instinct that would later fuel his acting. Despite being small, bullied, and poor, he carried an unshakable drive. He studied hard and earned a scholarship to City College of New York, intending to become a criminal lawyer. But fate stepped in during a school play, and suddenly, the courtroom dream gave way to a new one, the stage. Robinson trained at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, one of the few Jewish immigrants to do so at the time. He began his career on Broadway in the 1910s and steadily rose through the ranks, not through looks or charm, but pure talent. His deep voice, commanding presence, and razor-sharp delivery made him a standout. Then came the film that changed everything. Little Caesar, 1931. It was one of the first major gangster films, and Robinson, playing the ruthless Rico Bondello, redefined villainy on screen. He wasn't physically imposing, but his intensity was terrifying. His performance shocked audiences and inspired a wave of gangster cinema. In just 80 minutes, Edward G. Robinson became a Hollywood titan. But success didn't make his path easier. Robinson was deeply proud of his identity, his Jewish heritage, his intellectual curiosity, his love for art and politics. At a time when many actors stayed silent, he spoke out. He donated millions to anti-fascist causes during World War II and was one of Hollywood's loudest voices against Nazism and McCarthyism. And for that, he paid a price. In the 1950s, during the Red Scare, Edward G. Robinson was blacklisted, not formally charged, but quietly shunned. Studios feared hiring him. His phone stopped ringing. The man who once ruled the screen now found himself isolated, betrayed by the very industry he helped shape. But Robinson didn't break. He didn't grovel. He didn't quit. He rebuilt, slowly, quietly, brilliantly. He returned in character roles, smaller parts, but no less powerful. His performances in Double Indemnity, Key Largo, Scarlet Street, and House of Strangers reminded audiences just how sharp, dangerous, and magnetic he still was. He never won a competitive Oscar in his lifetime. But that didn't stop him from becoming a legend. He received an honorary Academy Award in 1973, just 2 months after he passed away on January 26, 1973. It was too late for him to hear it, but the industry finally said what everyone had long known: Edward G. Robinson was one of the finest actors to ever grace the screen. Off-screen, he was an art lover, building one of the most impressive private collections in Hollywood. He spoke 7 languages. He read voraciously. He believed acting was an art and that with fame came responsibility. While others chased celebrity, Robinson chased substance. He once said, "Some people have youth, some have beauty, I have menace." But what he truly had was presence. A presence that transcended time, genre, and image. He wasn't just a gangster. He was a scholar. A fighter. A man who turned his struggles into power, and his voice into a weapon. From immigrant child to cultural icon, from the slums of Romania to the silver screens of Hollywood, Edward G. Robinson proved that greatness doesn't need glamour, only truth. And yet, as unforgettable as his journey was, he was not alone in that fight for legacy. Stay with us, because coming up next, we explore the life of another Hollywood legend, one whose rise, fall, and impact is just as remarkable, and just as eternal.